All right, we're back, and always a delight to have in the studio with us. Bryan Platt is the executive director for Jackson County Right to Life, very passionate, and he and I go to jail together. But we're here to talk about something, folks. I don't know how to say this enough. I realize Sunday is a busy day, but this coming Sunday, I'm asking you to really get out of your comfort zone, bundle up, and come to the Jackson County Justice Building there on the courthouse steps for the annual Stand for Life rally. It's going to be this Sunday starting at 1:30. And Bryan, I want to talk about that in our first segment because you got a great program. But why is this gathering important?
You know, Perry, it's important on a lot of different levels, but let me just take the most selfish one first because it's encouraging. You know, our little group, our little merry bands, you know, Steve's band over in Josephine County and our little merry band in Jackson County, you know, you labor for 11 months and 3 weeks kind of in oblivion, you know, and I mean, and we're doing things, I mean, we're out at the picket and whatnot, but it's encouraging for us to put this little program together and then to have people come out and respond. I mean, this is a solidarity thing. You remember the old, you know, the olden days with Lech Walesa. You know, this is it is an encouragement to the chapter to see people come out and say, "We're with you," because we don't know that. We don't get a lot of that during the course of the year when we're down there just trying to figure out how to balance the budget and get enough money together to put a booth at the county fair or whatever. So strictly from a selfish standpoint, it's just a super encouragement and an energizer for our chapter to see people come out.
Now, why is this in January? Why on this date?
Well, okay, so it is. This is the 41st anniversary of the Roe v. Wade Bolton decisions of the Supreme Court. So, and we're at, you know, the numbers lose meaning after a while, but we're at 56 million babies being aborted, you know, under the authority, so to speak, of this Supreme Court decision. And so we take this as our kind of as our cornerstone with respect to our calendar year as far as Right to Life activities go, because it was a game changer. I mean, it was a game changer, and obviously it was a life ender for 56 million Americans. 1 in 6 Americans has died through abortion. We have untold millions of women and men whose lives have been changed forever for the worse because of decisions they've made. And yeah, it's time to recognize that and to remember that and to rally behind it.
Well, I have to tell you, folks, my opinion that of all the issues we battle in our country and in our state and our city and everything, this by far is the most important. If we get the life issue right, I believe everything else falls into place. But if we're just letting babies be killed and slaughtered without any kind of a defense for them, then I think their blood is on our hands. And we are making progress. I want to say this. There's been some good things happening with this movement, and who knows what the future holds. But we don't give up. Now, you got your rally 1:30 Sunday afternoon at the courthaus steps.
Well, yeah, the Jackson County Justice Building, the one that's got the fountain down there on the corner of 8th and at 8th and Oakdale there, and I think that's an appropriate place. Yeah, you know, we stand up there, and right behind us it says justice. Yeah, and you know, and that's what we're after, Perry. Yeah, is we're after justice for these unborn babies.
All right, I understand we have Steve on the line from Josephine County. Steve, you there?
I'm here, Perry.
Good morning, Steve.
Morning, Bryan.
Good morning. Tell us about what you're doing over in Joe County.
Well, Josephine County, Grants Pass, we're having our annual March for Life on Sunday. And I should know the numbers, but we've been doing this event, the March for Life, for years and years and years now. And we always have rain or shine, snow or sleet, have an excellent turnout. Usually you get between 500 to 600 people that come out. And we gather at the courthouse starting at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, Josephine County Courthouse on 6th Street. And with ODOT's blessing, we have 2 out of the 3 lanes of the main street, 6th Street, and march from the courthouse down to Riverside Park, where we gather for our rally. It starts at approximately 2 o'clock.
All right, so that's all coming up Sunday at 1 o'clock there in front of your courthouse, and then you go down the street, over the bridge, and into the park, right?
That's correct, yes.
What do you got on the program? Who's speaking this year for you?
Well, we've got a tentative program here, and it is subject to some changes, and I'm not entirely in control, but we do have several government representatives that will be in attendance. Dennis Richardson is having a statement read on his behalf since he can't make it. Dwayne Stark, who's running for his position, will be there. Wally Hicks, Herman Bartschiger will be there, possibly other local reps. Art Robinson is scheduled to speak as well.
Okay.
And at least those people will be there.
Okay, sounds good. And Brian, what do you got lined up for yours?
You know what we have, Perry, is we have the Dove's own Polina Lizer speaking, and I asked Polina because, you know, I'm expecting, and I don't know, but I'm expecting her to bring a little bit of a cultural twist to the pro-life issue. I mean, we know that she's, you know, 100% pro-life all the way, but I'm interested in hearing not just from a woman's perspective, but from a woman who has been from a country where, for a period of time at least, abortion was rampant. Yeah. And of course now Russia has kind of turned that around, and they're rewarding their citizens to bear children. Right. You know, they've kind of, the light's kind of gone on now. It may not be for the right, for moral reasons, but for political reasons, they're encouraging their families to bear children. So,
well, here she is, a strong Christian, raised in a country where abortion was just as normal as can be, and even as a Christian, she accepted it as normal. You know, it was just, it's a kind of a weird twist.
Yeah.
Until the light turned on.
Yeah.
And then when the light turned on, I think you'll find it to be a fascinating
Yeah, and
story.
then we have Maureen Wright, wife of Pastor Jim Wright from Mountain Fellowship. Mm-hmm. And Maureen has a powerful testimony about forming the Pregnancy Resource Center. Mm-hmm. And you talk about faith and tenacity, okay? And we heard her at the PRC fundraising event, and I was just amazed. I had not heard this story at all. As far back as we go in our relationship, Right to Life, with the PRC, I had no idea of this. So it's very moving, it's touching, and it's motivational. So really looking forward to that. And then, of course, yours truly.
Yeah, I'll be there as well. Well, folks, I just want you to understand how important these two events are. Steve, yours starts at 1 o'clock at the courthouse steps, and then the rally's at 2 down at the Riverside Park, right?
That's correct. And I didn't really get to mention, not only will we have government representatives there, but each and every year we do get a chance to share updates, news on what is going on locally, Oregon Right to Life, National Right to Life news. We always promote the contests that are coming up for students for oratory and for drawing and essay contests. We always highlight what's going on with our local pregnancy care centers, any news on what Planned Parenthood is or may be doing in our communities and in our nation that's counter to the cause for life.
Okay.
And this year, of course, as we'll be talking about, is the Right to Life petition. Yeah.
Okay, and then 1:30 at the Justice Building steps here in Medford. And I just want to say, I'm excited to know that there in Grants Pass for years, they've had quite a few hundred people show up, 500-600 people. Yeah. I'd like to see at least that many in Medford. Now, I realize there's some big games on television, but nothing's more important than this. So I'm asking you, and I'm asking you pastors that are listening, both in Jackson County and Josephine County, encourage your people to go to one of these two rallies over the weekend. I want to challenge you to say it from the pulpit Sunday, that to leave church, go have a quick hamburger or whatever, and then go to one of these two rallies and support what's going on. And let's show a tremendous solidarity for the life of the unborn. And again, in Joe County, it starts at 1 o'clock there at the courthouse steps, and 1:30 here in Medford. Steve, thanks for being with us today, my friend.
Thank you, Perry.
All right, God bless. And before we switch gears here, we're gaining on this in some areas.
You know, we're gaining in a lot of ways. It's the doom and gloom is the easy part, you know, to pick up on. But no, we're gaining in a lot of ways. 10 states have passed pain-capable laws which prevent abortions to occur after approximately 20 weeks. None have been overturned by the United States Supreme Court. And of course, you know, we've got a little bit of a setback there with the
Arizona and Oklahoma.
Yeah, with the overturning, you know, there. But we have Planned Parenthood, you know, with their tail between between their legs, closing down clinics left and right because there's no longer any support for them. So yeah, so there are a lot of things going on. And in the next segment, we'll talk about this petition, a fantastic opportunity for Oregonians to have their voices heard as well.
All right, stick around. We got more about this petition. Before we go to break, think about this. In the state of Oregon, every day, you are paying for 11 abortions. Think about that. Every day in the state of Oregon, you are paying for 11 abortions. How does that make you feel? We'll talk about that when we come back. Okay, we're back, and Bryan Platt's with us today. Bryan heads up Jackson County Right to Life, and this coming weekend is a very significant weekend in this whole effort to save the life of the unborn. It is the annual Stand for Life rallies both in Jackson County and Josephine County, and probably throughout the state and throughout the nation, because this commemorates the Roe versus Wade decision, 41 years ago. And so, folks, I'm really asking you to prayerfully consider being at one of these rallies this weekend. It's only an hour, and you can get back to the games later, but I got to tell you, I just really pray that you will feel the tug of the Lord to get out and come out and support the efforts of those who work day in and day out to do what they can to stop and curtail abortion in this state. So part of that is as we are going to the break, I asked you the question, do you know that you are paying for 11 abortions a day in the state of Oregon? You say, well, I'm not paying anything. Oh, yes, you are.
Yes, you are.
And what's happening?
And let's make a distinction, which I think even drives the nail home further, and that is, these are not medically necessary abortions necessarily. Right. These are, and we know from the statistics, these are elective abortions. These are abortions that women choose on the throne, on the altar of convenience. So let's not make any distinctions
now, how
there.
Am I paying for
this is it. We're paying for it. Yes, there may be a medically necessary one. One out of what? 100 or 200 or 300. I mean, that's what the statistics would indicate. These are elective abortions that we're paying for.
All right, so that's my tax dollars.
That's your Oregon tax dollars through the Oregon Health Plan.
Okay, and so what we're trying to do now, there's a petition out to stop your tax dollars for paying these abortions. And introduce Jeff.
Well, okay, first of all, just to backtrack 2 years, Jeff Jimerson and a group up in Salem, Corvallis area, were moved by the Spirit, really, because of this. It's so obviously a moral wrong that they decided to begin this petition process even 2 years ago for the 2012 general election cycle. And the thing is, the goal was a constitutional amendment, with the thinking then the legislature can't just simply go in and wipe it clean, because frankly, Oregon's legislature generally is hostile to the pro-life movement. And of course, that raises the bar in the initiative petition process with respect to the number of signatures that need to be gathered. So they burdened themselves in this process by thousands, tens of thousands of additional signatures needed. So we have about 115,000 a valid signature requirement to get this on this coming November's general election ballot, and it bans the use of taxpayer money to fund abortions in Oregon. And Jeff can be more specific on it.
Hi, Jeff.
Hi, Perry. Hi, Brian.
Hey, good morning, Jeff.
Thanks for being with us. Fill in the blanks there about this petition drive.
Fill in the blanks. Yeah. We're working hard. We're sort of just rounded the corner, what I kind of envision as the last phase of signature gathering, starting now in 2014 and up through Mother's Day. So May 11th is our due date that we need volunteers to send in signatures by. But to fill in the blanks, we have 4+ months. We've got 32,000 signatures in our hands right now. And as Brian mentioned, we need 116,000. So we're just relying on folks all over the state to get involved, to get their churches involved, and gather a few signatures and send them back to us, and that'll add up to what we need.
All right, a couple things here. This is totally legal to take place in the foyer of a church. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
All
yeah.
Right.
Just to clarify, some of the confusion comes from the IRS requirements that a pastor or a church cannot endorse a political candidate or a political party we're neither of those.
Right.
This is a moral issue, and a pastor should and we hope will.
Yeah, we know that.
endorse this.
Okay, so initiatives can be taken. Now, they can go online and sign the petition. Is that correct?
Well, you can't sign it online, but you can print a petition, and there's only one way to sign a legal petition,
Right.
and that's by actually putting ink on paper. And so, go to our website, print what we call a single signature petition, and you and your whole family can print one each, and everyone who's a registered Oregon voter, and then mail them back to us in one envelope.
Okay, and that website is?
It's Oregon2014.org.
Oregon2014.org. Okay. I just want to say, first of all, are you a registered voter? And if you are you currently registered? That's number one. So if you have changed your name, you have moved, you got to re-register. And I would admonish you to do that today. Today. And make sure that you are properly registered. And then find one of these petitions. We have them here at the Dove. We'll have them at the rally, and we'll talk more about that. So this is a big thing, Bryan.
Well, and Jeff, we did this in 2012. Mm-hmm. We gathered 70,000 signatures statewide, so roughly half of what was necessary to turn into the Secretary of State's office for validation. If every one of those people who signed would find one person who hadn't signed, we'd be there. I mean, it's as simple as that. And not only that, and we've talked about this before, is those signatures are sitting in the pews of our churches.
Yeah.
Those signatures are sitting in the pews of our churches. The church is the solution to getting these signatures.
Yeah, and I'd really want to admonish pastors, it's your tax dollars too that are paying for these abortions. And this is totally legal. I don't think this is a political issue. This is a life issue. This is a spiritual issue. This is very much a godly issue. And I would encourage you, either you take it on yourself in your church or appoint somebody in your church to be a point person to gather signatures in your church, and let that take place every Sunday in the foyer, and then get those signatures in by Mother's Day, and we can give you the details on that. Well,
yeah,
Jeff,
now I need to interject here, because Jeff is actually coming down to Medford Monday night. This coming Monday night, okay, the 20th. So we're meeting at First Baptist Church in the fireside room, the same room that we met in previously. It's in the middle of the physical church area there, between the Grace Christian Administration and the sanctuary, at 7 p.m. Jeff will come down. A lot of people, I think, are intimidated about circulating petitions because they're fearful of doing something wrong and essentially wasting their time. And Jeff is going to come down. The guy is the answer man when it comes to the do's and don'ts of signature gathering. And so we would hope to have people come to this meeting at 7 o'clock. Might last an hour, might last an hour and a half. But Jeff will be there to demonstrate all the procedures with respect to gathering petitions. My goal is to solidify our Jackson County organization with respect to the gathering of the signatures. We don't want to replicate efforts. It's difficult enough, to get people out there without finding out that we're treading over old ground. We have some larger churches that we have not gathered signatures at, that we need to have a group of individuals help us in that process. So this coming Monday at 7 at First Baptist Church in Medford, Jeff will be down.
Thanks, Jeff. God bless you, pal. We'll see you Monday night, huh?
Thank you both. Yeah, God bless you.
Thanks, Jeff. See you Monday.
All right, you got some quotes you want to get shared.
Well, I do, and this is kind of back to the Roe Wade thing, which is, all this is around. And actually, this article, I just kind of sat there and I was stunned, because this constitutional lawyer did such a good job of summarizing the very many different components, the constitutional issue, but he really challenged me as a pro-lifer with his last statement. So it's just a short paragraph, if I may. And he says, faced with this prospect, and the prospect is, the issue of, basically, supporting, or the Constitution somehow supporting the notion that we can abort babies through this privacy concept. Many of us, maybe even most of us, flee from the facts. We deny that the living human embryo is truly or fully human life. We adopt a view that whether the embryo or fetus is human depends or can be judged in degrees on a sliding scale over the course of pregnancy, the trimester concept. Or we proclaim uncertainty about the facts of human biology, when does life really begin? I mean, this guy he's getting it all. Or we proclaim moral agnosticism about the propriety of imposing our views on others. Well, it's wrong for me, but it's your business. You can make that decision. Or we throw up our hands and give up because moral opposition to an entrenched, pervasive social practice is not worth the effort, discomfort, and social cost. The one position not on the table, the one possibility too hard to look at, is that abortion is a grave moral wrong on a par with the greatest human moral atrocities of all time, and that we passively, almost willingly, accept it as such. Mm-hmm. We sit on our hands.
Wow.
We know it's there, and we sit on our hands.
Yeah, I again just say that, look, what these rallies are about, and I think you properly stated it, Bryan, it's a time of solidarity. Bryan and his group and those who continually work on this thing day in and day out need the encouragement. But more importantly, when I come to these rallies, I see people and I go, man, I'm glad to see you there. I am glad to see you that you get the issue. You understand it, you're there. And I really hope you will just come on out, bundle up, come on out. Yeah, it may be a little cold, but it won't be raining, and it'll be great. You got another one there.
Well, there are, and I hate to bore people with just, you know, it's like being on the radio here, but there is one other one, and I think that a lot of people, if I say to people, what significance does Roe v. Wade have, and I'm not talking about the result, the abortion thing, but what does it have from a respect of the legal concepts? And if you remember, first of all, there were 9 men on the Supreme Court that made this decision. It wasn't a unanimous decision. There was a 7-2. There was a dissension there. And Harry Blackman, who wrote this, and I've actually read a book about this. His daughter wrote a book about it. He actually was influenced by his clerks. His clerks actually steered him towards his decision to claim this right of privacy. Anyhow, I don't claim to be a constitutional lawyer, but this is just a very short paragraph. It says, Roe's reasoning, distilled to its essentials, is that the Constitution creates a privacy right to abortion on the premise that the right not to bear a child is protected by the 14th Amendment's Due Process Clause. Okay, so the Due Process Clause, basically, we're all protected by. It says you can't be deprived of life, liberty, or property without the due process of law. They can't just come in and say, boom, you're going to jail, or boom, I'm taking your car, or whatever it is. Okay, no serious constitutional law scholar thinks that this is a plausible reading of the Due Process Clause.
Wow.
That clause forbids government to deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without the due process of law. Without due process of law are crucial words. The Due Process Clause does not say the government may never deprive a person of life, liberty, or property. It says that the government may not do so without due process, that is, arbitrarily, lawlessly, or not in conformity with duly enacted laws. That decision, Roe v. It was actually Doe Bolton, almost turned the Due Process Clause upside down.
Yeah.
It's upside down.
Yeah.
And, you have a lot of attorneys, the one at Harvard, which, not Dean Kagan, but I can't think of his name now, who's known as a very liberal attorney but very brilliant mind, disagrees with the Roe v. Wade decision, with the Doe Bolton decision, because of this issue. So the other part of that argument quickly is that the one that should have due process of law isn't born yet. And it's being completely deprived.
And have no representation.
Perry, if we as Christians agree that the unborn are human, there is absolutely no excuse for us not to be involved in this process. And I think we even have trouble sometimes conceptualizing it. It's a big spot in mom's belly. That's what it is.
Yeah.
It's not a human being. Created in God's image.
Well, folks, look, this coming weekend is very, very important. And I want to admonish you, and especially you pastors, please say something from your pulpits, please. Not only on the rally, but also on the petition drive. But the rally in Medford is at 1:30 at the Justice Building steps. We'll see you there. The rally in Josephine County starts at the courthouse steps at 1 o'clock. You can be there. And the rally, about an hour long or so. Please come on out. Be a part of this. Show your support for the life of the unborn and those who work in this area, and then we'll give you a lot of information about the petition. Pastors, assign somebody in your church to stand in your foyer and get these petitions signed, okay? Thanks, Bryan.
Thank you, Per.
All right, God bless you, pal. We'll see you next time on Focus Today.